Olivia Miles, who comes from the best state, New Jersey, and is well on her way back to a return to stardom, is here to join us. We have a lot to get into about her journey and what is ahead. Locked On Women's Basketball starts now.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I am your host, Howard Megdal, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. Over 200,000 of you showed up in July alone, the way we show up for you 6 days a week, covering the past, present, and future of women's basketball. It is, of course, not just me, but the entire team over at thenexthoops.com. Over 100 reported pieces every month. Go ahead and sign up. Get them in your email box. Over 100 different pieces. I just can't stress to you enough how important this work is, telling these stories, not just the biggest stars, but everyone throughout the sport. $9 a month, $72 a year, making sure we are covering the sport the way it is always deserved to be covered at thenexthoops.com. And we have had the privilege in the midst of doing that, of covering the rise of Olivia Miles, who is the star guard at Notre Dame, who came from New Jersey as well. Olivia, your journey has been unconventional in college alone, between, starting out early and beginning your play there kind of before the beginning, to all of the work you have had to do to overcome the injury, I should say, to the ACL. I guess for you, as you kind of ponder it, as we're just now a couple of months from the new season beginning, was there a moment for you that really felt like a turning point as you've kind of navigated all this?
Yeah, it's a little weird because this injury, it's pretty tough. So there are a lot of turning points. But I think when I kind of started to get in practice more and start running with the girls, that was around like February of this year. That was when I kind of felt myself being like, okay, like, I made it through. I obviously still had a lot of work to do from that point, but it kind of gave me some security in my leg and, in my mind that, I'm doing the right things and I'm ready to start playing basketball again.
When you got to Notre Dame, immediately, you were capable of doing things that very few players who are upperclassmen are able to do. It's a transition, and obviously those of us in Jersey have been able to see what you've been able to do for a long time. But right from the get-go, you were scoring right at the rim. CBB Analytics has these great shot chart breakdowns, and your shot chart breakdowns are as enjoyable as any to see. You were at 78.6% efficiency around the rim as a freshman. It's just a number that doesn't happen. It really doesn't typically happen for a guard who can put pressure on the rim like you are capable of doing. Where does that skill come from? How much of that do you feel like is skill work? How much of that is just the toughness that you bring to the table?
Yeah, I think you said it. I think a lot of it too is just I'm physically bigger than a lot of people that guard me. So it's a little easier for me, but I've always loved to drive and score. I think it's the highest percentage shot you can do. And the numbers tell you that. So I'm just, like I said, physically more gifted than a lot of the people who guard me. So it's a little easier for me to get around them. But obviously, I do work on a little bit of skill, and I try new things in practice, and I train different moves to make it easier for me when you meet those 6'5", 6'6" girls at the rim, and it gets a little tougher to finish over them.
When you took the opportunity to enroll early and play early, I just wonder, because again, this goes back to all of the unconventional nature of this. The end of your high school career runs directly into COVID. For those who can't do the year-long math, to take you through, you had to be desperate to get back out on the court already with that interruption. Can you just kind of take me through your thinking process about all of that?
Yeah, it felt really stagnant. I was at Blair. We were practicing. I had just gotten out of my soccer season where we had played like a few games. This was like November, December time, and that's when COVID really started to take off. And I was practicing with the girls, like I said, and just we weren't playing any games, and it wasn't looking any like we were going to have any games that season. And I had been watching Notre Dame since November, since they started. And obviously that was Coach Ivy's first year, so things were getting just started. She was just starting to roll out some wins, but they were going through some adversity. So, given that I wasn't playing in high school, and I also wanted to come add value to Notre Dame in some way, and also learn the college game a lot quicker than a lot of the other freshmen were to be in the fall. I just took that opportunity and wanted to play basketball. So it kind of worked out for me, but it definitely was unconventional, like you said, being 17 at the time and going in, thrown into COVID college basketball where you had to social distance on the bench. It was very, very odd time, but I feel like I learned a lot and we grew as a team together through that.
You've always been shouted out for your high IQ on the court. And obviously, in a lot of ways, you're kind of this prototypical Notre Dame recruit in this way when you look at the guards who have come through that program, when you look at the nature of it. But like you said, it's this time of COVID. It's the time of a changeover in coaches where, I'm sure, Muffet was obviously the original coach who is recruiting you as you're going through that. Did you have, I just a different way to ask you, like, what was your kind of thinking process over continuing, staying with Notre Dame, deciding that was the right fit for you on your end of things?
Yeah, I talked to Coach McGraw, and I also talked to Beth Cunningham, who was an assistant at the time a lot, and they were great. I always had Notre Dame in my top 3, top 5. But during my sophomore year, I would say is when Coach Ivy really started to recruit me, and that's when we kind of built that relationship. But then obviously she went to the NBA and kind of was having other experiences, so I wasn't really sure until she got the job, and then I was like, yeah, like she's who I want, to be my head coach, and it kind of sealed the deal for me on Notre Dame. Like I said, it had always been up there for me, but I think her charisma and her excitement about the job mixed with her being a powerful Black woman, I think it sealed the deal for me.
And to that end, having the opportunity to go basically anywhere you wanted to. Okay, for those who don't know, and I assume most of our listeners do, but you played for the Philly Bells. Blair Academy is a power here in the state. Could have gone anywhere. To have a Black woman leader, how significant has that proven to be, just day in and day out, not just for you, but for your teammates as well?
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten to do just cool things and cool experiences that brings communities together. I think it just means a lot looking up to someone who looks like you, has the same roots as you, and can relate to your experiences in life. And I think her being a woman as well, she's very easy to relate to. She's a mother, so she treats us, and she says it all the time. She calls us her daughters. So just having her to look up to, her to emulate, her traits are so desirable, and some of them that I want to add to my own personnel. But I just love her, and I love everything that I've learned from her, especially through this injury. She's been great. Unfortunately, she had to go through it, but she's been a resource for me. So yeah.
What are some of those traits? Because it's interesting. I am getting ahead of myself because I look forward to covering you in the WNBA for a long time before this happens. But you're such an obvious potential future coach with the way you see the game and the way you play the game. So I'm just wondering, what are you looking to add from the Coach Ivy skill set over the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, just her wisdom and her ability to kind of improvise on the fly is incredible. The game where we played Louisville, where I hit the game winner in that game, she like drew up that play like she knew it was in her repertoire, in her locker. She had been waiting to draw it up, or I don't know if it was on the like I don't know what it was, but just her ability to draw things up and to coach us and just use her experience and her wisdom, like I said, to get us through tough situations, and while at the same time doing it with a lot of grace and not like freaking out when in the heat of the moment, I think is so desirable, like I said, and something that I want to add to my game, because as a point guard, you kind of have to weather the storm, whenever that is in the game, and we're down 10 and there's 4 minutes left to go. You got to keep your team in it, and she's taught me how to do that already. So
It's funny to me, you are not even complete, but you're atop the record books in a number of ways. I'm curious about how that came about, what you're looking to add, what numbers you look at, how you measure success. We have a lot more to get to with the great Olivia Miles in segments 2 and 3. We're going to talk about your Jersey roots as well, and truly what is ahead. But first, a couple of things I want to bring to you message-wise to the listeners. Back with more. I'm Howard Megdal. You're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by FanDuel. And look, FanDuel understands, recognizes that it has been a tough few weeks for you with the WNBA on break. Yeah, there's been the Olympics, there's Major League Baseball, but of course, FanDuel is here for all of it, for all of you every single day. How do they prove that to you? FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. Again, there is a boost or a bonus every single day for everyone who logs in all summer long. If you head over to FanDuel.com, you can start making the most out of your summer. Again, that is FanDuel.com. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Locked On Women's Basketball is also brought to you by Miracle Made Sheets. And Olivia, you can speak to this, the idea that it gets humid and hot here in Jersey in the summer, right? I mean, it is something to survive. So
Yes.
here, I'm in South Jersey. I'm in the tropics of New Jersey. So I know you a little further north, but we take our sheets very seriously. And Miracle Made understands that, recognizes it, and Miracle Made Sheets gives you the opportunity to make sure you don't wake up too hot or too cold. They have sheets inspired by NASA using silver infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. They have a real good deal for you too right now. If you go to trymiracle.com/locked on and use the promo code locked on, not only can you save an extra 20%, they'll also give you 3 free towels. Again, that's with a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not fully satisfied, you get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/locked on and use the code locked on to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/locked on. Thank you to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode. Back here with Olivia Miles. And so it didn't come as a huge surprise to me. I had the privilege of watching you play in high school. I understand everything that you bring to the table. You talk about being bigger than the players who are typically defending you in the backcourt, but also obviously it allows you. I don't think it's fair to say that you are successful as a rebounder simply because you're bigger. You are, it seems to me, capable of anticipating ahead of time. And you seem to get a lot of your rebounds that way. Can you kind of take me through how that developed within your game?
Yeah, I think it came from just my ability to run the floor quickly and push in transition. Instead of waiting for an outlet from a big, I thought it'd be easier to just go and grab the rebound and do it myself. Not that my bigs aren't capable, they're amazing and really, really good at what they do. But I just love getting the rebound. Like you said, I put myself in a position where I believe best that the ball is gonna, fall in my hands and you kind of got to be a little athletic and jump up there and rip it out. But like I said, I feel like it stems just from my ability and wanting to run the floor as quickly as possible and just getting the ball in my hands in the fastest way that I can.
I mean, I guess it's easier said than done, right? You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. That definitely makes sense. But at the same time, it is remarkable to see it in practice, right? And so I say that we get a little nerdy here from time to time here. So in the 22-23 season for Notre Dame, you grabbed 21.7% of the available defensive rebounds. That was tops among any player on your team. So, again, it's not just, oh, gee, you are rebounding well for a guard. You are doing things at a level that few players were matching, even in the front court across the country. And it wasn't like you did this at the expense of playmaking. Your assist percentage was 41.8%. To be up over 30 is generally elite, up over 40. There's just a handful of players who do it in the country every single year. So again, you think about that conversion, and I can't help but play forward in my mind, putting that next to fellow Jersey product Hannah Hidalgo, and the idea that you would have an offense potentially here with multiple elite playmakers. Because Hannah was north of 40% too. Take us through behind the scenes what it's going to look like offensively once you guys are back out on the court and wreaking havoc together.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, if we can even get in the half court, because she's just going to steal the ball and score it every time. But it's going to be incredible. It's going to be a lot of playmaking, a lot of assists, a lot of the ball flying around everywhere. We have so many All-American and All-American potential on our team. It's just going to be a lot of great basketball players sharing the ball, and making a lot of shots. It's gonna be incredible. I can't even really explain it to you. You just kind of have to come to practice one time and see it. But it's gonna be fun, and it's like I said, it's gonna be a lot of the ball movement, swinging around, because obviously I like to pass, and Hannah's obviously a good playmaker as well. So it's gonna be fun with the two of us just bouncing off of each other, and then with Sony, Maddie, and the fifth person, whoever Coach Ivy decides that is. Just throwing it around to each other and scoring a lot.
I will definitely take you up on that invitation. I'm looking forward to you guys this year, every chance I get. It was fascinating to me, and it had to be challenging for you just to see the run that you guys were able to make. So I was live to cover that game, the loss in the round of 16 to Oregon State. Just a weird game all the way around, between turnovers, lack of turnovers, rebounding, all of it. How hard was it for you to watch that game, to know that you're on the court? And to my mind, you're on the court. That's a team that you guys beat.
Yeah, it's obviously very frustrating, because we didn't play to our potential that game. I think we let one slip. But it's always very frustrating, because I always want to help the girls out and be on the court, and especially in weird games like that where there's a lot of stuff that you can't control and things not going your way. It's just tough to see them like going through that, and like I said, me being on the bench, and at that time I was cleared. Like I fully could have put on my uniform and gone in the game. But no, I think you said it. It was tough. But it's just the reality of the situation, and we can only learn from it from now.
It was one of these days. Oregon State shot, I think, 67%. You guys were, as you always are, top 20 in the country or top 25 in the country in defensive efficiency. That is, I guess, the nature of the NCAA tournament. But I also would be remiss not to point out the NCAA tournament is one of the places where you shine the brightest. For you to put up a triple-double in the NCAA tournament, as you did against UMass a few years back, does it have a special meaning to be able to do that, to know that you're in the record books, not just as the all-time leader in triple doubles in Notre Dame history, which is just an amazing benchmark in and of itself, but the fact that you added to that list during the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, that feat was incredible. And I didn't really understand it until I think a few days after the game. I was like, wow, that's actually kind of crazy. But knowing that record essentially can't be broken, the first freshman to ever do it, just given like the amount of greats that have come through this game, it's kind of incredible to kind of have my name stamped in there. But no, I think that stat, that record, whatever you want to call it, is just a testament to my versatility on the court, and just ability to do multiple things and do them really well. So I'm proud of it for sure.
There are no shortage of WNBA GMs who are salivating over the chance to draft you. And so that is obviously one of the things in the future. But I want to talk at the end of the day about how you got here. We're going to get a little more into Jersey roots and a little more about how you see your career unfolding in the time ahead. Back right after this, I'm Howard Megdal. You're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Back here with the great Olivia Miles. And Olivia, I'm going to need to give you some rapid fire jersey questions before we get into the future. We got to talk about it. We have to talk about what is your favorite Jersey Shore town and why?
Probably Belmar.
Yeah.
Because the food there is great. The bagels there are the best, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point. Taylor ham or pork roll? Are you prepared to make a call on this one?
Pork roll.
Pork roll. Oh man. Okay. All right. Half the state's gonna be real up in arms about this. And what is the best restaurant in the state of New Jersey?
Best restaurant. Oh,
that's a tough one. I know.
that is a tough one. I just had my grad party at Al Fresco's. It's an Italian restaurant in Flemington. Very good. Very good.
Again, Flemington, like underrated food town, by the way.
Yes.
No, I know. Our state contains multitudes. I love it. All right. So we got to talk about the future, right? And so again, like I talk to GMs in the course of doing the work that I do here. And from your freshman year, people are talking about the way in which your game obviously translates to the W, both your versatility, your size relative to your position, and the skills that you're bringing in, where you're obviously going to be able to contribute right away to a team as a two-way player. For you, take me through what your WNBA knowledge evolution was. Like, when did you start following the league? And, has that stood as sort of a goal for you, or is that a relatively recent thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think my, attention and my love for the game, the W, grew. At the start of high school, I started to learn more and more about it, started to get more popular. And then I would hear some of my friends who I trained with, they were like, yeah, I play in the league. So I got to train with them and they got to talk to me about it. And then some of my trainers were like, yeah, this is something you should shoot for. And so that's when my knowledge and my desire to go to the league kind of started. But no, it's from that point, it's always been a goal. And I'm really excited that, I'm so close to it now and have it at my fingertips, and especially with the momentum that it's gaining today, I'm just excited to see where it is when I enter it. But no, it kind of started when I was younger, like 13, 14 maybe. And then my love for it kind of grew exponentially over the years after.
It is a matter of when, not if you'll forgive the point of personal privilege from this host's perspective. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to see you on draft night and the many years behind or beyond that. But before you leave Notre Dame behind, I'm just wondering, do you have your eye on a stat? Do you have your eye on a benchmark, on something that you think best will illustrate what kind of player you are and can leave your mark most fully?
I want to get that 20 assist game. I think that would be crazy. I've thought about it a lot. I think my highest is like 13.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's going to be hard. What is that, like 5 assists a quarter? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I could do it if Coach Ivy keeps me in the game for long enough. But no, I think that would best illustrate my ability. And I also it's something I would like to get done.
I know you had 14 against Merrimack.
Oh, 14. Okay, 14.
Yeah, so that one, but you didn't play the full game in that one, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you only played 28 minutes in that one, because it was 108-44, so it was not necessary to play the full. But 20 assists, man, I wouldn't put it past you in the slightest. That'll be a fun one to see, and certainly with the team you guys have on tap, I can't wait to see it happen. Well, Olivia Miles, again, I congratulate you for all the hard work. I know the challenge of coming back from an ACL repair. Mm-hmm. The basketball world can't wait to see you back out there.
Thank
and we
you.
congratulate you. And we thank you for your time. To our listeners, we want to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. We'll be back with you tomorrow, of course, as we are 6 days a week. Until then, I'm Howard Megdal, wishing all of you a wonderful Wednesday.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.